Hey guys, let's talk about spraying latex paint with an HVLP gun. There's a lot of info out there on spraying oil-based finishes like paints, varnish, shellac, that type of thing, but hardly anything on latex. And surprisingly, it's almost no different than spraying oil. Let's get into it. The thing we're going to talk about is how to hold your gun. There's lots of pre-made holders out there you can buy from the store. You can make your own, whatever you'd like. I found just a simple F-clamp on the edge of the table. Works perfectly fine. We're going to talk about latex paint, and it's really no different than spraying oil. Bit of info here, the tip. If you're not familiar with HVLP, you may not know these tips, and the needle is paired to the tip. You take this tip, they come in different sizes. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. 1.8. That's a 1.8 tip. I use that for everything. I'm no expert painter, but not by a long shot. I barely know what I'm doing, but I do know this always works. Again, you can get, probably if I was smarter and wiser on painting, I would know to use different tips for different types of finish I'm spraying, but I'll tell you, I'm always really happy with a 1.8 tip and needle for everything. Oil-based, water-based, paint, varnish, shellac, whatever. 1.8 tip and needle, 20 to 22 PSI dynamic pressure, away you go. Thin paint, maybe 10 to 20%, depending on your paint. Aside from that, just pull the trigger and go. It will work. What do we mean by dynamic pressure? Here's static pressure. We're looking at about 60 on the gauge. Now we'll see what we get dynamic. There's 20, come back a click or two. And we're hovering right there, about 22. So that's it. There's our dynamic pressure. That's what we want to be spraying at, 20, 22 PSI. It works, for me, it's always worked great. It doesn't matter what I'm spraying, whether it's oil-based paint, varnish, shellac, as you just saw, latex paint, doesn't matter. That's where I spray. Do what you want to do. Your gun may be a little bit different. That's what always works for me. All right, fumble it. Rule of filming. Drop everything when you're filming. Sniff a lot too with a runny nose because it's cold in here. That always helps. It's always good if your audience thinks you're a cokehead. That's the best. Just doing the inside of a kitchen sink cabinet. Spray latex first, and a couple coats. I already have one coat on yesterday. We're gonna have the second coat this morning. Hopefully by the end of the day, we'll put the first of 2 coats of clear water-based poly on there. And that'll be it for a finish on there. So we're just going close here. We're just eyeballing, thin down about 10, 15, 20%. Just depends on the thickness of your paint. That's about 20% or so. Give it a good stir. Again, most of this is really by feel. I've used those cups where you put it in there and let it run through and you time it, and if it's 15 seconds it's right, or 20 seconds, I don't know, whatever the heck it is. Just mix it. If it shoots right, it's right. If it comes out gloppy or it's not working, then thin it or thicken it. Well, you know, it's just by feel. Everybody's paint's going to be different. The quality of your paint is going to affect how it comes out. Just whatever. Use a filter. Last thing you want is a glob of gunk in there, screwing up the whole works. Close enough. Have wet rags around. You're always going to spill, so. Scrap a hardboard, whatever you want. Something you can dial in your fan pattern on. got it about where I want it. Get away with spraying finishes inside the shop. Here's how I do it. It's simple as this. I use the Izzy Swan filter. This is super high tech. Box fan, 2-inch pleated filter. This one happens to be carbon. If I'm spraying any type of finishes whatsoever, oil or water-based, I use a carbon pleated filter. 20 by 20 by 2. Just sit it there. You turn the fan on, and the pull from the fan will hold it in place. Simple as that. Just let those run. I have maybe three of those in the shop, and I just turn them on full blast, let them run for 15-20 minutes, and if it's water-based, and the shop's good to go as far as there's no odor of anything in here anymore. If it's oil-based finish, I definitely would let them run overnight. But when you come in the morning, there's zero odor of anything. No smell of any finish that you just sprayed last night. That's how I do it. It's too cold outside right now. It's maybe like 50 degrees outside and drizzly, so there's no way I'm spraying finish outside right now. And do it in the shop. Just use good filters. That takes care of it. That works for spraying inside the shop. Again, I have like 3 of those going in the shop, and that does the trick.